The Stranger, Season of Storms, Year 1. The port town of Nesody wasn't always a port town, and wouldn't be forever. Apparently, it had started as a safe haven for ships, and as the sea around it eroded, the forest growing in its place had made it a convenient safe haven for refugees. Despite the landlocked nature of the port, however, it still remained a popular destination for those seeking adventure, or those looking for transport. Numerous creatures, some humanoid, but most monstrous, milled amongst the tiny village. Clotheslines with sets of clothes that had multiple sleeves or leggings were not uncommon, and a gentle breeze accompanied the stranger as she parked her bike near the town hall. The clouds threatened more rain, but it would likely be peaceful enough if it broke. Binky was staring thoughtfully at the clotheslines, his one eye deep in concentration.
Why is it that people put out clothes when the weather is bad?
The cigarette was halfway to her lips when he spoke, and she knew there was no chance she could light it after he had shifted focus. Sighing, she extinguished it and shoved it back into her suit pocket, hoping the damn thing wouldn't catch fire.
Decent enough question. Maybe they want nature to wash their clothes for them.
It was a joke, but Binky looked satisfied, and that was good enough for her. Boleslava, who had been outfitted with a tiny raincoat and tiny yellow rain boots, waddled forth with a cheerful smile.
I found the person we were looking for. He's kind of mysterious though. Really friendly, too. He gave me cotton candy.
Somehow, the idea of someone giving cotton candy to Boleslava seemed a bit like a cruel joke or something, but it was also so cute that the stranger thought she might as well roll with it. Following her pink and fluffy compatriot down the tamped and earthen streets into a house that was tucked away under a cover of trees, heavy with a pale blue fruit that looked slightly like hanging lanterns. Inside, their mysterious contact had his cloak pulled up around his shoulders and an equally mysterious grin on his face. Despite the fact that he was also devastatingly handsome and projected an aura of complete trustworthiness, the first thing the stranger noticed was that the room was practically unlived in. Besides the rocking chair their host was roguishly rocking back and forth in. There were no tables nor drapes, the windows were cluttered with webs and moss and flaxen cracks, the ground was covered with soil, and the sight of running water made her unconsciously loosen her tie.
Sorry for the appearance, friend. I've used this place as a meeting area because, well, we wouldn't want dangerous people listening in, would we?
That made perfect sense, and the stranger nodded conspiratorially. Binky tried to do the same, but hit his head against the ceiling with a pronounced thump and a slight cry of shock and embarrassment, though not pain, as his head was far too strong for a mere ceiling.
Nope, of course not. So, we three are here to take care of your serpent problem. Apparently, some knights from a neighboring earl couldn't handle it, but we're not even close to knights, so we might have a chance.
Her contact laughed, but good-naturedly.
Maybe so. The serpent is in a gigantic mound not so far out of town. Come with me. The least I can do is bravely lead the way.
His cape swirled about him in a flash of daring red that seemed equal parts enigmatic and pleasantly self-deprecating, though not so much as to reveal more than the hint of his smile. A family of snake-like people were the last to see them go, waving nervously as the four made their way past. Binky waved back with a gigantic encyclopean smile, and their nerves melted away. It felt pretty different being a hero, and though she got a lot of weird looks from the Icelanders, they tended to be accepting enough when they saw Binky or Boleslava, who was now riding on her shoulder, eyes focused on the danger ahead. The danger ahead in this case being the horrible tripping hazard of a truly endless-seeming hole. The Stygian abyss was an abscess on the earth, and out of curiosity the stranger flicked the cigarette from before out of her pocket, lighted it, and flicked a few embers into the pit. They died before floating more than a few minutes into the darkness, but the ash was visible for longer still as it fell. And fell. And fell.
Binky isn't feeling too good about this.
Binky said cautiously, speaking for all of them.
Don't worry, brave souls. I'll be standing way over here, and cheering you on. Good luck.
At some point, their guide had disappeared behind a distant tree, and with a hasty wave, ran far into the distance. She would have yelled something nasty at him, but the sight was too funny to really stay mad, and besides, Isilthwist wasn't such a bad-looking guy, after all. The serpent, who had risen out of the pit at all the ruckus, was quite tall and quite large, with a sheen of strangely luminescent feathers that obscured 2 pairs of slightly askew yellow peepers. First one set blinked, and then another.
Why are you bothering my digging by dumping ash on me? It wasn't much, but my pride was forever damaged.
Silthwist hissed in sorrow, a single tear forming in the voluminous sea of one eye.
Erim. I'm sorry.
The stranger began, then coughed, twice, because Binky was glowering at her and shaking his head in mild disapproval.
It was just that you've been frightening people with all the noise you've been making, and more to the point, an old guy is terrified you. And that's not cool.
Finding her inner conviction, the stranger reached into her jacket for a pen.
That'd be noise pollution, at least. Which is 10 times worse than people accidentally dropping ash onto you. 5 times worse. Okay, I'll also write some sort of citation for myself as well, Binky.
The Cyclops beamed at her.
Sorry,
Silthwist said, sounding truly apologetic.
But a dear friend has asked me to do this thing for him. Though I usually do not dig so furiously, it's a necessity. If I don't find whatever it is I'm looking for, my friend says that all sorts of terrible things will happen. To the Icelanders, and perhaps even others.
Those words were greeted by an immediate team huddle, Boleslava's tiny body wriggling up and down as it was propped between the stranger and Binky. As the 3 finished speaking, the stranger nodded with profound seriousness, fist crashing into the palm of her hand.
That sounds like a beautiful reason to be digging a massive hole near a settled area. Unfortunately, I can't really allow that. But if you agree to relocate, I can promise you.
Binky hoisted up the stranger, who held Boleslava aloft.
Our help?
Silthwist stared at them, and laughed, hissing in amusement and surprise.
How wonderful! I accept. Truth be told, I haven't gotten very far. It's tiresome work, and it gets so lonely. It will be nice to take breaks, and watch the flowers bloom with new friends.
And so the 3, now 4 once again, left the town of Necessity and searched for new pastures as the rainy season faded into the season of abundant harvests, the fears of villager, earl, and serpent alike confounded by the power of friendship. Chapter end.